think that's the misconception, that a lot of people think they're going to go into being an influencer and think it's so easy and, oh, I'm going to get paid so much to just like post. And then you realize you have to be every component of your small business. And
Yeah.
eventually if you become a mega influencer, you can hire a team, but that doesn't happen until you hit like millions of followers for a lot of people.
Right. When someone's not an influencer and we haven't done this before, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I got this box, I'm going to show you it. And it just seems so inauthentic.
What people don't understand about becoming an influencer, and she made it almost like abundantly clear, even if she didn't explicitly say this, it's like you're starting a small business. People will just think it's essentially, oh, I'm just going to post on social media and get paid for it. No, because as soon as you say like, I'm going to do this full time, then like her, you set up a blog, you set up a YouTube, you set up a membership, you get products, you have to figure out your finance, like you're the financial team, you're the creative team, you're the marketing, you're every team in a small business.
My thing about being influencer life is I don't want to have to influence about things I don't really love. Hi, Julie.
Hello.
Guess what we're going to do today?
Jump right into it.
Jump right into it because I think sometimes in the beginning of our podcasts, as you mentioned so eloquently, we get a little derailed talking about the catch up stuff. So if we can catch up along the way, I think today we start off with the topic because it's so relevant to the podcast we just recorded with our influencer friend, Austin. So what are we talking about
On
today, Julie? Would you
Socialize.
like on Socialize? Yes, on Socialize. Thank you for correcting. Yeah. So want to intro the topic?
You intro the topic because you came up with it. You always tell me to intro the topic that you determined.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is your topic.
I thought we collaborated on this idea. Anyway, I think the topic, okay, so it should be influencer life and do we want it? So especially for you, I have this question because after meeting with her and realizing and learning all the things that she does as an influencer and seeing her follower numbers, you could be an influencer too, girly girl. You have the same amount of followers on TikTok. Granted, she has a YouTube channel and she does a blog, but you have that skill set. So I'm going to start by pushing the topic to you. If you could be, would you want to be a full-time influencer?
I guess it depends. I don't want to be an influencer in the sense of like, oh, I just fucked up my nails and I just painted them today.
Oh,
that sucks.
I'm so sorry.
We can cut that out.
Okay.
Anyway,
or leave it in because
it's
funny.
This is life.
This is real life. Stay with it.
Okay. I don't think I'd want to be an influencer in the sense of I am constantly getting products and telling you need to buy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've come to this realization of I don't want to be pushing. I've come to this realization that I've been trying to budget a lot more these past couple months with all the events that I have to attend.
Yes.
So I've been a lot more conscious of my spending and habits in the last 6 months where I don't think I've really been shopping for new clothes, for new makeup, for new beauty products. And if I am, it's because I just finished a product, like a skincare product, and I need to replace something. And I hate scrolling on my FYP and just seeing product reviews, product hauls, unboxing, PR unboxings, this. Because then it makes me feel pressure that I need to go out and buy stuff. Or, oh, I'm going to save this for like when I have money or have the money to do it, or just feeling the pressure that I need to buy things. So I don't want to be an influencer in that kind of sense of where my content and my revenue is based on telling other people they need to buy shit. I would be an influencer. I would full-time love to be like more of a content creator. And I think the distinction is influencers like influence people to purchase products, like fashion influencers, beauty creators, those people.
Mm-hmm.
Versus a content creator. Maybe I think the difference would be I maybe wouldn't be doing brand deals, but I would be getting paid by like the YouTube algorithm or being paid by TikTok for views on high performing content that is like storytelling and engaging.
Oh, so you prefer that avenue. Yes, you would prefer that avenue.
Yes.
I'm not clear.
But also no.
Okay.
Yes, I would prefer the avenue of I don't want to get a brand deal with a brand where I'm like, use discount code Julie25 and that my success in this brand deal is like how many people purchase products. I want to be in a position where you are, where I think if you did brand deals because you were big enough, your brand deal is more of the sense of you're garnering awareness for a brand because of how big your audience is. And it's not, I don't think it's as how many sales did you make? And it's more, oh, you posted about Mother Denim and you got 50,000 views, that
That's
look how
value.
much reach you just introduced a whole new audience anyway.
Oh my God, I love this, especially because of them and what happened today when I got my PR package, and I'm so excited about it. Because my thing about be influencer life is I don't want to have to influence about things I don't really love. And I think what happens with a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people who have taken this path, they have agents who are saying you got to do this sponsorship, perhaps. And you know what I'm excited about? My next podcast is going to be with Lorraine. I'm going to ask her some of these things. So Lorraine, if you're listening, you're going to teach me some things on the next one. But I think that part of this is if you have an agent and they're saying you really should do this, this is a good gig. In the same way you have an agent if you're a movie actor and they're coaching you and telling you and advising you. So I think a lot of times it's very dependent on the numbers and what the return is for doing the gig. So a lot, and I'm not saying this is like a sellout because maybe still the person cares about the thing they're talking about, but maybe it's not something they would have chosen if they were picking the thing they wanted to do. So that's my,
Yeah.
I think that's what I look at as maybe a downside. Although I am excited about the idea of sponsorships, and I wasn't before.
Yeah.
I've come to a
I
place four
think
years later.
finally,
Good, I have.
finally, which is good because no, I think part of the problem I have with wanting to be an influencer is I feel like for me to get started in like the niche that I'm in, or not even a niche, but if I was like a travel influencer, if I was a beauty influencer, it starts with you spending your own money on products and reviewing
Mhm.
them or testing them out and sharing it. And again, I'm in a place where I'm budgeting, not buying new things, not really doing that kind of thing. So it's not
So you don't want to be
able to
contributing to that for
and
other people, right? You don't want to be putting that
yeah.
pressure on other people that might be in the same position.
It's like, oh, run, don't walk to get this new concealer. Like, who the fuck
I
cares?
know.
It'd be like, your concealer you have in your makeup drawer works perfectly fine. When that one runs out, sure, try the one this influencer. But I just feel like I need people to remind, like, why are people doing
This is
buying like
what you should
18
be doing.
lipsticks?
Wait, hold up. This is definitely the piece of content you need to be doing. After you should do that. You should record that
Yeah.
today. After we get off the podcast, you should record that. It's like I think that would be
Okay.
genius. And maybe you should stitch it with somebody who's saying you have to get the concealer or just go for it without.
Yeah.
That's a great piece.
And
That's a
then
great video.
but that's kind of where I'm at in my influencer journey. Because I was like that for a little bit. I think what happened was I got a PR package. I was getting a couple PR packages from a brand that I liked and used and loved.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no obligation to post, but I still posted the first like few times that I got a package. And nothing really came from it except that they just kept sending me more PR. And I got two packages in February and then March. And I didn't make posts about it because things were hectic. And they sent me an email. They're like, please post about your
Mm.
PR package if you want to be considered for future ones. I was like, well,
Oh,
then you shouldn't tell people there's no obligation to post if clearly there's an obligation to post.
yeah, that's a little odd. That is definitely a little
Yeah.
odd. I mean, and I
My thing
sometimes,
is,
yeah, I get frustrated by this too. I wanted to mention that there's another creator who I notice, she just exploded, had a little viral video going. And then now, obviously, she's getting some packages, and you could tell that she feels so obligated to post about these packages. And I feel bad for her
hmm
because I know that position that she's in where you first start receiving things and you feel that you owe this brand this post, and it's so hard because
yeah.
we don't know as when someone's not an influencer and we haven't done this before, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I got this box, I'm going to show you it, and it just seems so inauthentic and
hmm
trying too hard, and it's so frustrating. Meanwhile, today when I got my Mother Denim package, I was truly freaking pumped to post about it. And a little bit I
hmm
feel that I know this brand is they are pricey jeans, but and they're but I will say what I feel about it is I would rather have one pair of those jeans than four pair of cheap jeans. So I would literally get behind it in that I could wear those jeans again and again. People comment on my jeans all the time now, this one particular pair that I wear constantly. So they are already worth their weight in the $200 that I spent on them, which I know it's pricey, but hey, I love the brand.
But you're giving them awareness. And also, I think the other thing, I saw a very interesting TikTok about how PR packages are supposed to work, where it's like, or how they worked kind of like before influencers were a thing, was like more for celebrity. Like you send a celebrity influencer free product for them to try out with the hopes of that product becoming a staple in their routine that they then share with their audience.
Yes.
Because whenever I watch a PR boxing, I'm like, you're talking about these products, but you haven't even freaking tried them. So how are you supposed to tell me like, yeah, it's like, okay, cool. You just opened a present for yourself.
Exactly. That's first of all, that's a similar thing that happened recently when I got that tripod that I was talking about on the Socialized podcast. And I was so excited about it because it looked so cool and the color was beautiful and the design was aesthetic, pure, perfect. I loved everything about it. The little light and mirror thing. I loved it. But the premise of this thing was that it was supposed to charge the battery on your phone while you were creating content. And the battery charger was so slow and so poor. And I'm like, I can't make a video. And I had agreed upon receiving this $150 item that I was going to make a video. So I wrote them an email and I said, can I send you this back? Because I can't make a video because I don't believe in it. But what you're saying too, with these influencers is when they get the PR packages, they're supposed to do like, por ejemplo, right here. I have like product placement. So I put that back there a while ago because I got that as a PR package. And do you know people have commented on that candle? Let's say what it is, right?
It's a CeraVe candle behind us on her thing for people who are not watching the video.
I'm going to hold it up. I'm going to hold it up to the camera for people
because we love CeraVe.
Well, I do. And this was
that's something I would happily.
There you go. So I learned this from because I asked one of the friends of Jenna who works for the company, and I said, when they send you these PR packages, do they want you to make videos? And she's the one that said they just hope that you exactly what you said, that you will work it, that you love it enough, and then it becomes part of your routine. So eventually you talk about it, or you put it in the back, or somewhere it's in your video.
Exactly.
And people have mentioned that candle.
I should work on social media or something.
It's like you should, or it's like you did. Oh my God. So what do you think the pros and cons? Let's talk pros and cons and the things that we learned from. We could talk about the things we learned from Austin and say, let's talk about the skill set and then we'll go into the pros and cons. So what do you think for people listening, especially, is the skill set you need if you are going to do influencing as a job? If you really decided you wanted to take this on, what do you think the skill set is based on Austin and what she shared?
Okay. I think what people don't understand about becoming an influencer, and she made it almost like abundantly clear, even if she didn't explicitly say this, it's like you're starting a small business. People just think it's essentially, oh, I'm just going to post on social media and get paid for it. No, because as soon as you say like, I'm going to do this full time, then like her, you set up a blog, you set up a YouTube, you set up a membership, you get products, you have to figure out your finance, like you're the financial team, you're the creative team, you're the marketing, you're every team in a small business. It's like, I think that's the misconception that a lot of people think they're going to go into being an influencer and think it's so easy and, oh, I'm going to get paid so much to just like post. And then you realize you have to be every component of your small business. And eventually if you become a mega influencer, you can hire a team, but that doesn't happen until you hit like millions of followers for a lot of people.
Right. And you have to be, let's even lay out the roles. You even have to be your own bookkeeper because you have to be chasing, let's say someone doesn't pay you. You have to make sure you're reading contracts, that you make sure things are included. You're the producer, you're the finance, you're the bookkeeper, you're the kind of assistant because you're tracking everything, emails, making sure you're responding. You're creative, so you're coming up with the creative. You're directing yourself. You're posting, so you become you become a social media manager. Then if you're doing blogs, you have to figure out how you're automating your blog posts and keeping. She had some great advice that she told me, by the way, that she was like, you can turn your podcast into a blog post very easily by having it AI. When first she said, you take the transcripts and you put it into Chat GPT, and then you tell Chat GPT to turn it into a blog post and put it in a casual voice. And you can do that. So granted, that's something, let's say we wanted to do blogging for Socialize. We could do something like that. The issue is we're already writing the newsletter and then the podcast comes second. So we don't really need to then go in the reverse for a blog post. But something to think about. We should maybe be doing a blog. But it's all these roles have to happen. And what if you're not good at one of the roles? What if you're not good at organizing, keep yourself on track, and then all of a sudden, we were just talking about how fast time goes and how because we have so much technology at our fingertips, we make our to-do list a lot longer. So we don't get it all done. It's so frustrating, Julie. I feel like
I don't even think it's that you make your to-do list longer. It's that now we have more
to do.
Like 20 years ago, people weren't like, it wasn't a priority 20 years ago in a job. Like, oh, I have to make sure I post on Instagram today.
Oh, right.
It was just like, do your marketing job. It wasn't
whatever that was.
Yeah. And even personally, like outside of work, it's like, okay, well, now a lot of people who are pursuing side hustles, whatever, it's like, okay, I'm done with my work for the day, but now I got to post a comedy reel. I got to figure out my comedy Instagram and get that organized and do that on top of everything. So
yeah,
and the thing about social media we were just talking about is that posting on social media is a tedious freaking process. Uploading the reel, adding the titles, adding a caption, adding music, adjusting the volume, making the cover photo, hitting publish, realizing you made a mistake, and then have to unpublish it and then redo it. And then you have another mistake and you have to do it again. And you go through this epic cycle and it's exhausting.
I'm dying. I'm dying laughing because Alicia texted me today. She said, I just posted our reel and I added you as a collaborator. It took me 5 tries. And I'm like, what happened? And she said it kept uploading, and then one of the captions was wrong, so she had to delete it, and she didn't know it was going into draft, so she kept redoing it because she didn't realize. God. Oh my God. Anyway, I was dying. Your description of it is so dead on. And for anybody who thinks, oh, they're so good at it, they're so fast at it, they're so savvy. It's all of a sudden an hour goes by and I'm like, I just posted a video. That's all I did. It was the last hour.
One video.
And that doesn't even
I was just talking
like shooting and editing them. Ay.
And then like promoting it afterwards. It's like people think us working in social media is like, oh, it's a little frou-frou job. No, it is tough shit. You get paid like shit and you're responsible to be like, especially if you're a big brand, you're the face of this freaking brand now. One typo and the world could come after you. And you just had a little typo.
You're killing me today for some reason. I feel like
it's because I'm tired and I'm exhausted and I'm tired of posting on social media. And I was doing so good at posting like every single day, multiple days on TikTok. And now I'm like, it might get banned. What's the point?
I get that all the time now on my comments. Like, why are you teaching us this? It's going to be banned. I'm like, well, listen, I'm living for today, to be honest. I'm doing what I got to do for today. And hopefully something, will evolve. But you're funny because the way you describe it, you have to do a set on social media at some point, like a comedy, a real proper.
Funny.
Oh, but it is funny. I guess maybe because we're so deep in it.
Okay. It's like when you do a social media conference, then I got to open for you and do 15 minutes of just social media jokes because then they would freaking kill at a social media conference. But at a regular audience, when like half the people don't even give a fuck about Instagram,
they don't even on it. They're not even on it. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
God, we have to do a social media conference, and you really have to do a set because you could nail it because you have all the things that the influencers do when you do your funny little imitations of them. No, you're funny. You're funny. I thank you for your humor.
You're welcome.
When you come, just like when I come up on your FYP dancing, when you sometimes come up on my FYP doing some bit that you came up with for your social media, I have the same reaction.
I want to start doing more bits and more like humorous things. Then you got to think of the ideas. You see someone do it and then you're like, oh, that's so relatable. And then I'm like, well, I don't know. What could I do that's relatable? I've never done a relatable thing in my life. And then it's just like, and then I can't think of anything,
Oh, I know. I do know.
And someone did comment on one of your videos recently and they said that I need to do, it's time for another impersonation video. So I do think we need to do one during the wedding week.
Yes. Oh my God. That will be so funny.
It might be live by the time this episode is out.
I hope we do it. Every time we think we're going to do something and then the time again goes so fast and we don't get to it. But I always manage to make time for my little like transition videos and things. But sometimes when we have to do a collaboration in person, time just goes too fast and we're busy doing family things. Like we're cooking and we're prepping and we're putting things together and we're getting things ready and we're making crumb cake
Mhm.
for people that are coming over. I'm so excited. But I will say, one of the things that Austin mentioned about her thing is, well, we keep saying Austin. Did we say who she is in the beginning of this video? I can't even remember if we said at the beginning of the podcast. We
I
had a
don't think you
socialized
did.
podcast and we had an influencer on who is a full-time influencer with I think she has like 20K followers per platform. So it adds up to like 90,000 followers in total. And she does it full time, but she took it on as a career. She decided that she was going to just go at it. And she does all the things. She does her own sales and research, and she reaches out to brands and she puts her own media to get together. And she has a skill set that is extremely organized and all of that. But one of the things she did say was that brands now give you requirements for the videos too. So that's another thing that you are adding to the list. You are your own legal team to make sure that you are doing all the things that they want you to do in the videos, which then makes the videos not so much fun. So they hire creators that are maybe doing comedy, like let's say yourself, or tutorials, let's say me. And then what do they think? Now I'm obviously going to do a makeup tutorial. Like that's not my gig.
Mhm.
It's not my shtick. So it's really tough. Like you have to find a way to make it authentic if you're going to do that, and then also fit in all the things the brand wants you to do. Oopsie. All the things the brand wants you to do. Oh my God.
Yeah,
So
'cause
what are,
there's
yeah.
there's nothing worse than seeing a big influencer like do an ad for like a wireless phone company carrier. You're like, why?
Say, yeah,
You're like,
why?
you've never talked about your cell phone other than the fact that it records your videos, and now you're doing an ad for AT&T.
It is
It
funny.
just
Do you,
baffles me.
do you see some of the influencers on TV commercials now? I'm just wondering. Have you noticed?
Yes.
Oh my God. I see the father and son duo that were funny. I guess they're a funny. Do you know them with the shaving commercials?
Yes.
I mean, what? Anyway, no
You
shade.
want to
We're not
be
throwing shade.
bitter, but
That's a good gig.
I
We're not
know
throwing
it's
shade because that's a really good
I
gig.
get it. You know, they gotta secure the bag. And if they're doing a freaking partnership with AT&T, they're getting paid bank. But then it
Oh
just
my,
makes literally no sense in their content. And then they
oh
try
my
to make it make
God.
sense and it feels so ridiculous because it's just unnatural
It's just,
to
yeah. And
be
it's also
like,
PS
I
creative.
love.
You have creative writers writing those spots too. So now the content creators aren't even the writers of the creative, knowing because in
Yeah.
the ad agency world, you have a whole creative team that's writing the content, that's writing your creative now. So that's why, again, it's not really authentic. You know, let's just have a little moment of a throwback. Remember when I was in a Pantene commercial during the pandemic?
I
let's just
do.
let's just remember that for 2 seconds. I
That's
swear, I thought it
crazy.
was a joke. I got contacted by an ad agency. They saw my video on YouTube, no less, not even on social media. They found me on YouTube and I was doing a DIY, doing my roots. And it was during the pandemic when I was teaching people, look, if you don't want to, you can't go to a stylist right now. So I'm going to teach you how I do my own roots. And anyway, so it was a good
Hmm.
video, but it's on a Pantene commercial from back in the day in 2020. It's funny. Anyway, so I can say I was on a TV commercial too. I made chicken squat from it, maybe like $1,000.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
If you were gonna have your dream brand deal on social media, where it was like,
Oh my,
we're gonna pay you your we're gonna pay you your full rate, you have full creative control.
oh.
What brand would you want to work with?
We'd have to think categories because it would be easier. It would be most natural and easiest for me to collab with a technology brand, like, and I'm gonna say our brand that we really want
I'm
to
not
get, but
okay,
go ahead.
pause.
A dream
I'm
world.
not
So
even
don't.
saying it needs to be like in your niche.
Oh, okay. So
I'm
just.
saying literally well, maybe that could be a
Oh,
second follow-up question. What would be in your niche that apply like that you could execute on like tomorrow if they approached you? And then what's the dream brand for like, maybe it's not your niche, but damn, you're a loyal customer already or you're a fan of whatever.
Oh my
But
gosh, so
continue with the
many
one you were
things.
first saying. You can say the realistic
So the
dream
realistic
brand
one, well, just
collab.
because I know that this one would be so easy for me to talk about day in and day out without any hesitation. So I would never really run out of content opportunities to work with a microphone brand because I'm using a microphone constantly. So a brand like Saramonic, if they would really go hard with me, I would deliver, and I could deliver on them in so many ways. I could tell you right now, when I had a microphone fail on a podcast, my Saramonic was,
Hey, we're not
don't
getting
give it
paid.
away.
Don't give
Don't
away
give it
the
away.
good.
But I mean, I have so many opportunities from a standpoint of failed when things go wrong that I could share from when things go right, how it improves and what the difference is. So much quality. So I can make quality content for a brand like a microphone brand. And, but if it was like a lifestyle brand, really,
Just like dream, like,
oh, I guess if I was going to be dreamy about it, I'd say Aritzia because it's it encompasses all different types of clothing. And I think I could
mm-hmm.
really do well for them. And I say them because I know it is a dream because I would never hire someone like me. And it just a little bit grinds my gears a little because they would never. But that's why I'm saying it because it would be such a dream to have a brand like that where I could go from dressy to casual to outerwear to everything and be able to really lean hard on a brand like that. So, yeah. I haven't shopped there in a long time because I just was like, I'm never going to have them as a as a brand. So I don't want to. If I keep wearing the clothes, people ask me where I get my clothes. So guess what? I'm going to start shopping at a more realistic place where maybe I
Ooh,
would have an opportunity to promote. You know?
burn.
Yeah, burn, burn,
Those are good
bitches.
answers.
What about yourself? Do you have a dream collab brand that you would want to work with? You're going to come up with a good one. I know. Put me to shame.
Okay. I have a few. I don't really have like a realistic one for right now because I feel like my content doesn't really lend itself right now to like what a partner like and then I don't know unless you
Okay.
think otherwise. I mean, for me, like I think I could do a lot of like clothing brands or because I perform and stuff, so I could always be wearing product, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think like a dream brand for right now probably would be like Converse because I always wear my Converse and I wear them a lot when I perform and I feel like that and I've been wearing them since I was like a kid. And
That's
that's
a
like
big.
that would
That's a
be
big yes.
that's a big one.
That's a
Yeah.
big yes. Now I want you to get them. I bet you could get I bet you could pitch them and do and get work. Just the way my friend
Yeah.
Rihanna is getting brands like what's the shoe brand she works with? I forgot already now. Steve Madden.
Steve Madden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's got about the same size TikTok following as you, maybe more on Instagram or whatever, but that would be a good brand for you. I think you could probably get it.
Mm-hmm.
I bet. Do
Okay.
they work with influencers?
We'll percolate. I think they do, but like
Just send the
mega ones
DM.
because
Let's just send the DM.
you know what I've been noticing? Because
What?
I DM a lot of brands on your behalf to get contacts for Socialize. And I think because you have the blue check on Instagram, you get responses. I don't have a blue check mark, so I don't get responses from brands as easy as you do. Now
It's
I
so
just want to reach
ridiculous.
out to brands on your account and be like, hey, and then I'll just use the email coming from me.
Go for it. Go right ahead. But I'm just laughing because
Um,
on Instagram you pay for the blue check mark. It's not even like you're
I
verified
know,
really, which
but
is
I
funny.
think it helps. Yeah, I think it helps brands like filter requests. If they see the
Okay.
blue check mark, they're probably more likely to like I don't feel like I feel like I don't qualify for the blue check yet because
Okay.
I barely have 3,000 followers.
I think I decided to do it when I got to 10K. That was my big benchmark. And I'm like, I'm gonna do it because now I feel legit.
Yeah.
I need the check. I need the check somewhere.
Yeah.
If TikTok's not gonna give it to me, I need to get it. Ooh,
Okay. So then
getting nice and dark in here. Mm-hmm.
the other brand, I would want to do some sort of travel brand. And I think that would have to be Away because I've had their suitcases for like over 6 years now.
I like that. I think they respond to my videos. They always like when I mention them, and when I did my
Mm,
packing video, they came right into my comments. The thing that
nice.
I will say, I like the the credibility that having a big following has brought me. So even if it's,
Hmm.
and I'm not going to say it's smoke and mirrors, it's real hard work, and I have these followers. This is not fake. I didn't, they're real. But I like what comes along with it in terms of credibility and being able to play with the big boys. Like these brands, when I mention them, they come into the comments. Mother Denim has been in my comment section even before they sent me the PR package. When I would tag them, they would say, "Oh, this big creator, quote, this big creator has mentioned us." And
Hmm.
so they would comment. So I think eventually things are going to happen that are right for me. I just am
Yeah.
not rushing it. That has always been the thing for me, is when the time is right. What do you think the pros and cons of influencing are? Thoughts on that? You can do that probably really quick because you're that kind of person. Pros, cons, boom, go for it.
Like from a career standpoint or
Yeah,
just like in
as a
general?
career. No, if
Okay.
it was a career. Go ahead. Pros.
Pros. Flexible, you work on your own time, flexible schedule. You get to work with brands you like ideally, and you get to have be really creative. You there's no like shelf, there's no barrier for entry essentially. I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people say like the barrier for entry to becoming a good influencer is having money to be able to spend, like I said, to buy products, to review products. That's kind of,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say barrier to entry is low, but I'll say like your potential, you're like there's no limit essentially.
Okay.
Like sometimes in a job you can max out at a certain role and be like, well, I
Mm-hmm.
can't really get a role much higher than X. When you're an influencer, there's no titles, and this could also be a con.
Mm-hmm.
There's no set career markers for
Oh,
yourself.
okay.
So you might not have that.
That's interesting. That
Um,
it could be a pro and a con.
yeah,
I
I
knew
mean
I knew you'd
cons, it's
have.
also similar to like freelancing cons. Like you don't have a set schedule. You don't have a set like steady income. You have to figure that out for yourself. You have to be every part of your business. You have to be HR. You have to get your own health insurance. You have to do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting
Um,
when Austin was talking about it, she mentioned something about she didn't like freelancing because she didn't like the kind of not definite part of it. And meanwhile, I
mhm.
think, isn't it the same? I should have asked her that
Yeah.
because it feels very the same to me.
Might be the same, but then you also have some sort of recurring income with
Okay.
if you're on YouTube and you're getting revenue from YouTube or you're got memberships and that's like a monthly thing where when you're freelancing, you don't really if you're not like have a presence, you're not necessarily
Right.
like racking in that passive income. But it's
And now
still
what
similar in a sense of like you still work your own hours and it's really flexible and
yeah,
yeah.
that's so now thinking about pros versus cons, what about fulfillment, like fulfilling your life purpose? And how do you feel about it? Because you've been very vocal about how you want your job to feel like something worth doing, not just do a job to make money. And I think
Mm-hmm.
we have similar vibes on that in general. Like I want to always be enjoying what I'm doing, which is why I haven't left production at all. I really still like it. So do you feel that influencing would be something that would be fulfilling that at life purpose, or do you think it would just be maybe an easy path to making money so that you can do other things that fulfill your life goals and purpose?
I don't know. I feel like it would depend on the type of influencer I was. Like, I think if I was helping people in a way, it would feel fulfilling. Like, if I was a travel influencer and my job was to be able to help people like kind of what I
Mm,
used to do, like recommendations for where to eat, what to do, like where to stay, things to see, then that would be pretty fulfilling. But I
yeah.
wouldn't find fulfillment in recommending a makeup product. I wouldn't find
Mm,
fulfillment in, and not to like, I feel like I'm just shitting on beauty influencers, and I swear I'm not. It's just the beauty and fashion influencers I feel like are the most, um, they do the most like pressure to like over consume and over like spend and just all this consumerism of like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, where if I was in a perfect world, if I was like gonna be an influencer, I'd be a travel influencer that does recommendations on like where to eat and what to do for your vacation. So that at the core of it, I feel like I'm helping somebody.
Yes. Okay, that's really, really great. We are so aligned because I still think if I was strictly doing influencing in that capacity, I don't think that would be fulfilling. The most fulfilling thing that I'm doing right now, honestly, is when I go, this is why it tells me, this is how I benchmark why I know it's fulfilling. when I read my comments and when I go to the Teachable TikTok course and I read the people who are commenting on the course, I know that I am fulfilling my purpose. And it is so clear. It is like crystal effing clear. And when I read that and I just go, I am doing a good thing here. And it's like similar to how when I was putting myself out there cancer wise, and I had people coming and saying, thank you for enlightening me to this. And you're helping me. But that was a temporary situation because I'm not going to have cancer my whole life again, ever in my life. So I know that I'm not going to be, so that's not something that I can continue doing. But as a creator that's helping other people become creators and learn to edit and empower them to make their own content for whatever purpose they need to do it, that is definitely my purpose. It's crazy. It is crystal clear. And it feels so good. So as long as whatever I'm doing, whatever that sponsorship is that aligns with that. So if I'm sponsored by a microphone brand that's helping me teach people how to make content, boom, I have landed. The eagle has landed. We should start to wrap up. I feel like I'm the one to say that today, but because the sun is going down, I don't know.
I feel like
I'm in the dark.
A good spot to end it. You feel fulfilled.
I do feel fulfilled, and you will soon. You will feel fulfilled. I know it. Because the next episode, we're going to talk about your comedy journey and catch up with that. And then we're going to talk about how that fulfills you. So we can look forward to that. We can tease that episode right here. Hooray. This was fun. You made me laugh a lot today, I must say. Lots of good insights. Yay. Thank you for being here. And we're going to exit stage left and get ready for our wedding now. Yours truly,
Helen and Julie.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we really want your questions because we'd love to do an episode where we do some answering of our listeners' questions. So for those of you that join us every week, I know there are people that join us on a regular basis because sometimes I hear from you in my DMs and we appreciate you so much. It makes our day to get your feedback. So thanks for being here. And if you're looking for any kind of help with my purpose, which is teaching you content creation, go to hellosocialize.com, where Julie and she keeps me on track and she keeps me real with our newsletters and our weekly updates. And so please check in there and sign up for our newsletter, and we'll see you next week. Post wedding. Bye.